Hey everybody, it's Ian King, athlete, advocate, coach, educator, and founder of King Sports International. We have with us for a chat Tom Legath from Los Angeles, California, USA. Tom's a high-level coach, and he's had some recent breakthroughs in the coaching program, which I want to talk about. And before we get into his recent elevation within the program, where ultimately he's on the final stretch, before we get into that, let's dig a little bit deeper. So, Tom, I know you're in LA now, but it wasn't always LA as home.
Yeah, I grew up in Pennsylvania outside Philadelphia. My family's from the Lehigh Valley. Not sure if you might know it because you've traveled quite a bit, but basically the Philadelphia region.
So what's a boy from Philly doing in the City of Angels?
I just, yeah, I can't really explain it, but I've always felt like I was supposed to leave, and didn't want to be like all the people that stayed in my hometown. It was really boring to me, and I knew at a young age that I was going to go to California. Again, I don't really know why, but just it's funny how that life pans out that way. And as I've learned in KSI, doing personal development and visualizing things, I think that I've been on this path for a long time.
Well, hopefully you've had more success in the City of Angels than the character out of the Kid Rock story of a similar name.
What story is that?
Oh, well, it's probably not appropriate for the age group of our here, but I shouldn't sing it to you. But there's a Kid Rock song that
I think
you
I
end
know
up.
when he's talking about. Yeah, I think I know the one. I'll. Well, a lot of his songs are probably a little more like that.
He basically says he'd rather be back on a mountaintop with a preacher with a gun in one hand and a Bible in the other, something to that effect. But he talks about the pitfalls of Los Angeles. But anyway, so you went to college back in your home state.
Yeah, I went to Temple University. I don't know if you know that one or not. Um, I studied anthropology and film because I did not want to go into business at the time. I really didn't want to go to a cubicle every day and wear a suit. It still feels weird to wear a suit. So anthropology, actually, I took the class by accident on for a general. We had to take like some random classes to fulfill requirements, and I just loved it. I couldn't imagine why I'd never heard this stuff before about evolution and all the other stuff. So I majored in it, but then what are you going to do with an anthropology degree? Funny enough, when I was a senior, they suggested physical therapy or something like that. So I actually tell people that what I do is kind of another version of anthropology that isn't officially a classification of it.
So you graduated with a degree in.
It's like a liberal arts degree, but I had a double major, so film and anthropology. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. And so, when did you make the move to move west? When did you join the long trail of explorers and pioneers, moving from the east to the west?
So I've always been very willing to jump on opportunity. I was on a plane the very next morning after graduation, and I had an internship for 2 months, and then while I was here, I signed a lease, went home, got my stuff, and drove across the country with my friend.
So you came down and got some work in LA. What was it? What was the nature of the work?
I was so my first job was a bar back, just working at a bar at a restaurant. And then my first couple jobs in the entertainment industry were like temp jobs until I got an assistant job for a really small talent management company who shared an office with Renee Zellweger's manager at the time. And then I eventually ended up going to work for him.
So you got people love to hear the names dropping, and in fact, that's what Kid Rock talked about. He said people who don't names drop, but nevertheless, on names drop, he was referring to Los Angeles. But let's be Los Angeles like, and so you got exposed to the Hollywood scene, and you got exposed to managers and some movie stars.
Yeah, oh yeah. He represented a lot of A-listers, and he was I don't know if anyone or you would even be familiar with the movie Swimming with Sharks in the 90s. Most people
Uh,
aren't. It's very much like Devil Wears Prada for the film industry. And it was like exactly what my job was, pretty close to it. And I watched it when I was working for him, and it was so comical to me because I was like, this happens to me every day. And it was actually based after a famous producer, Joel Silver, who's notorious for being hard on his assistants. It's kind of a Hollywood thing. It's like being hazed, I guess. There's so many people that want to get into it that they take advantage of that. I don't know if they still do, but I would imagine they do.
so did you see yourself as a long-term future in that industry?
Now, after a couple of years, there was a number of reasons, but the main one was I didn't like the person I was becoming, and I didn't like the people I was around. So when I was looking at them, I was in my 20s, early 20s, and they were crazy, I thought. And just they lied to everybody, including their friends. They were manipulative. And then I noticed that I was getting like turning into that a little bit. I was becoming kind of high strung, and I'd be like irritated with people at the grocery store or in simple things in life. And I was like, what's going on? And I just wanted to be outside too. You're in LA, so I'd be in an office and I'm looking outside. It's sunny here most of the time. And I played sports growing up, and I loved being in the gym, and I just wanted to do that instead. So that was when I decided to give training a try as a profession instead. And now you guys know the rest is history.
Well, we all know that Los Angeles is somewhat of a hotbed for the training industry, the physical training industry. So, what were your first influences, and what were your first job descriptions and that sort of thing? Where did it all start?
Well, my first influences were way back before I even moved to LA. So like Muscle and Fitness magazine and like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I played soccer and baseball, and I was always fast and I could run, but I was kind of like skinny, and I wanted to put on muscle. I wanted to attract girls too. So my best friend and I, around when I was maybe 17 or 18, we started lifting not my garage, but my basement with my dad's like weight set, and because he was a football player, so he had a lot of that stuff. And I just started reading those magazines like as much as I could. I'd go to the store, and every time a new one came out, I'd read the programs, try it out. And I got the Arnold Encyclopedia back then, and I was reading about that. And then when I got to LA, my next major influences, other than reading stuff online, was just doing an official certification, if you will. And then as I got to know lots of other people that were trainers and stuff like that, I've of course found out about people that were trendy or popular. But
So,
in
what year did you come down to Los Angeles?
2003.
So, post 2000 baby. So, the internet had happened. So you could get as confused as the rest of the world off the internet.
Yeah, the internet was becoming a thing when I was like in, it wouldn't be quite high school, like a little before high school, probably when I was like
Yeah.
15-ish. So I didn't even get a cell phone until I was 18. So it was right around that transition when AOL was becoming popular and stuff.
So you're on the start. So in the late 90s, early 2000s. So your first job in the physical industry.
I got a job as a trainer at LA Fitness right after I got
And
certified.
so you got certified. You're allowed to work. And then what did you think of that sort of work? What were your thoughts around? Had you found Nirvana?
I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with these people? I was like, I just passed this test. I don't freaking know what to do with them. And they sold half-hour sessions. And the manager was, he was just like a really buffed dude. And he basically said, just work them out really hard. Like that was the goal. They would sell people. Whoever did the sales would take some around and try to make them throw up or something. So they would feel really out of shape, and then want to buy training. you know, you had 30 minutes too, so it was kind of like they just wanted you to just do circuits and just beat them up really fast, and that was it. And I wouldn't say that I really relied on anything I learned in certifications. I just kind of did what I had done and had worked with for me. And it was okay for that gym, because it didn't pay a lot, and I'm sure the clients didn't pay a whole lot either, you know.
So what was your next transition after getting people to bath within 30 minutes?
Yeah, so well, I was still working in entertainment then. So I was training in the mornings from 5 to 9. And then I would go to the office from 10 to 7 in the entertainment industry. And I did that for like a year. And then I got hired at Equinox, which is a more upscale personal training gym where you can act for, you know, when I say actually make money, I don't mean you make a lot of money, but for a personal trainer, you can actually make a living working there relative to what I had made too. Because another reason I left entertainment was working for that guy who made millions a year. He paid me 20,000 a year to run his office. And it was really difficult to do anything in LA like that. So yeah, once I got hired at Equinox, I quit the LA Fitness, and I quit entertainment, and I went full time.
Went flat out. And so how many years did you stay in that sort of role?
I worked for Equinox for just about not quite 3 years, and I was I had reached the top of their categorizations for everybody. They had like tier levels, and I was even teaching some of they had an in-house kind of like training education program, and a bunch of my friends were starting to take clients and like go out elsewhere, because you know they would charge a certain fee and pay us like 40% of that. So it was pretty simple. Offer the client to pay a little bit less than what they pay, and I'm still getting paid double what I was getting paid. So I started doing that, and then they found out and they started firing people. So I just took the initiative and left before that became.
So what was your next step in your journey?
After that, I for about a year I just did private, and then myself and two other guys opened a gym. So we
So you achieved the pinnacle of the fitness industry. You opened your own private training studio. Like you were living the dream then.
yeah, that's it. I thought you know, I wanted you know, two things really. I wanted a career that I liked, and that gave me the ability to help and have fun and like have time, but I wanted to make money so that I could do more things in life that I wanted to do.
So the question is, did opening up that private training facility give you more time and more money?
It did give me more money, not a lot, but it didn't give me more time, because then I had to, you know, you have to run it. And even though I had two business partners to share that with, it was pretty long days. It was, you know, go in at 6 in the morning and you don't leave till 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. And, you know, my relationships suffered. And I just felt like it was a very repetitive cycle. And it was during that time, after a couple of years, when I joined KSI, because I started to question whether there was a better path for me.
So until then, you at least with the facility, the dream being sold in the US centric industry was open up your own training facility, and hallelujah, it all come together. So obviously, from what I know, it wasn't quite that simple, and
no,
you're looking for a better way. So I remember you came to a seminar. I think it was in Santa Monica.
yeah,
2010 or something like that.
I came to the Barbells and Bullshit seminar. It was the first time that I met you, or that I really got exposed to you. And just to touch on the gym really quick too, I remember we you know, everybody in the fitness loves to say, in the industry, loves to like say they are unique and different. And I really started to be like, are we really unique and different? I mean, really? Because it seems like everybody's doing what we're doing and what's going on. So when I went to Barbells and Bullshit, it was just it was great. I mean, obviously you're you, and it blew me away. It was pretty impactful. There was a lot of cool things that weekend, and it just showed, it was something I didn't know about, which I think a lot of Americans sometimes don't know about because they only know what's in America. And then listening to you speak was the first seminar I went to where I really felt like you knew what you were talking about. Because most seminars were just like, you go there, you sit, it's like a weekend thing, you do whatever they're going to teach you, and then bang, you're certified. And this was a lot different.
So certainly, by now you know it's not a 2-day certification in our program. What year did you step up into what we call the KSO coaching program?
2014.
2014. So a little bit of water on the bridge from that first exposure through to then.
Yeah. Yeah, it was in it, which is, as you have the saying, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. I definitely wasn't ready when I first heard it. When you came for Barbells and Bullshit, I loved it, but it was like such a high level compared to what I had been exposed to, and also what I thought I was capable of and that kind of thing. And then the next time that I heard about you coming to town, which wasn't the next time for you, but was the next time that I heard about it, was in that, I think it was like March or April of 2014. And that's when I decided to start level 1, because there was no level 0 back then.
And so let's say you formally started in 14. What was your first camp, the physical camp?
First camp was Park City in 2015. I wouldn't
And
have.
I remember that. I'm sure you remember that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I totally remember it. I wouldn't have qualified now, but yeah, that was intense. It was such an experience. I just knew, it exposed me, which I don't know that I didn't think that was what was going to happen, or I definitely wanted to learn, but I had some things I needed to work on. It challenged me a lot, and I knew I wanted to keep coming back, though. I'll tell you that, but I was exhausted by the end. I'm sure that you guys had some fun times talking about it.
Oh, we always have fun times at camp. So there's been a few camps since then, though, hasn't there?
Yeah, I don't even know how many now. Well, Park Cities, I think it's like 8 or something like that. And shoot, I don't even know. And then high level camps, I've kind of lost track. I think I'm more than 15 at least.
And so some of the locations you've got to go and work in and work with athletes in, including the one that you pictured by.
Yeah. Cape Cod this is from Cape Cod. And there was a lot of great experiences there too. That was my first high level camp was just me and John. And that was another, tested me a lot. But I learned a lot. I got to work with Coach Mike Pimentel, and I'm really grateful for the time that I got to spend with him, and in the few camps that I got to go there, because he was a really amazing person and amazing coach and big influence on me in my early years in the program, and he still is. I still think about things that the kind of coach he was, and things that he talked to me about back then. But yeah, Cape Cod was a really good one. And of course, Park City is always fun, different kinds of athletes. And now recently we were in Reno, which was a phenomenal camp, one of my favorites. But I mean, that's kind of how they all are, because you get better every time. So the next camp, you're better than you were the last camp. And you get to like practice that stuff and get better again. So it's kind of like a never ending better camp each time.
So you reckon about 23 camps, like 21 camps in the last 8 years?
However many you've had, because I've been to every one since I joined the high level program. So
I've lost count, so we're only guessing. What was it about Reno? What was your highlight at Reno? 23.
Man, that's a good question. The whole camp was full of really new experiences. The working with the quarterback was a speed session that you did that we got to be a part of. Was really unique because it was really sports specific, and we hadn't ever done something like that in camp with or I hadn't. We did a pretty great session with an Olympic skier, which was really powerful. And then the basketball session with the high school girls was just like incredible because we got to do a lot of aspects. Oftentimes in camps, coaches might let us come in and do a little bit, but to get to do kind of everything and spend a couple hours there was just so cool. And it was on a reservation, and so there was a lot of different dynamics. I enjoyed that. And shoot, we did the swim team that camp too. I mean, we had so many different sports, and what I feel like I'm missing something too because we had so much. We had freestyle skier. Yeah.
Yeah. Freestyle skier. We're out in motorbikes. We're out with
Right.
Off-road races.
Yeah, I really like that too. It was just every day it was packed with that stuff. So it was just incredible.
So you've been in the program per se for 8 years, and that doesn't include obviously any prior exposure because I started publishing in the internet in America through '99 onwards. So you may have had prior exposure, but let's say 8 years. I mean, if someone had said to you in 8 years you'll almost be a graduate, would you have started out? I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a really good question because I've thought about it because I think one of my strengths is I do believe in myself most of the time. There are some things I have to work on, but I generally, when I see opportunity, I want to go for it, and I think I can achieve it. I can be one of the faster ones to do things. So when I definitely didn't expect it to be as long as it was, but when I go back and I think of all the things I've had to do for myself, what I mean is I've put a lot of effort into changing and learning and growing, and I still believe I would have done it, but it has not been the journey that I expected. And I don't want that to come off. That's not a negative at all. But it has been a whole nother world.
So it's not unusual. We basically expect up around 10 years. So it's not an ordinary program. I mean, you can say I'm biased in my opinion about the program, but you've been involved in formal education, informal education, industry education, high level education. You can comment on how what we offer in the KSO coaching program stacks up with what the rest of the world's doing.
I was talking to one of my friends that I've known since college today, and he doesn't know a lot about the training industry, and I was trying to give him some insights, but it's just like what we do is the possibilities are endless, and I just keep becoming more and more aware of that, and the stuff that people get exposed to, because basically he was asking me like, how comes you don't want to go work for like a college sports team or a pro sports team or something like that? And I was like, I don't think I would get hired. And then I think I would get fired right away. But yeah, I want to be clear when I say it, but I have a lot of thoughts around this stuff. What you have done in your lifetime is, inspirational, and there's just so much to it, and there's so many possibilities. So I'm circling around a bit. I was driving today, and this is a good question, and you would probably be happy that I say this. I said, I have no idea how to train. That's what I said to myself, because I was talking to some of my clients today, working on some things that we were just planning ahead, like having conversations, and there's some new challenges they were having. And as I just thought about it, I was like, I really don't know what to do. Like I have a lot of knowledge, but there's so many choices and so many things that you could do. And this is why the client needs to be involved. So it wasn't a knock that I don't know anything. It was that, and when I first said it to myself, then it clicked, and I was like, oh, I don't know how to train. And I was like, this is a good thing.
Well, we spoke about that, I think, in one of our weekly calls just the week before. I said my attitude is that I don't know the answers, but I know how to find the answers, and I'm going to find them. They're going to be really good answers.
Exactly. And yeah, so I kind of had that epiphany that I'm capable of finding the answers, and that I definitely don't know. I can't say that this is what you should or shouldn't do all the time, which is what a lot of people want to know. And
Well, it takes a lot of courage to be honest with people, and not many people are going to be honest because they're worried about protecting the ego. To say, listen, I don't know the answers, but you and I are going to work together on this, and we will find the answers, and we will achieve our goals. It's not difficult, and we've got a track record of doing it. We just don't go into a situation pretending we know everything.
yeah, and we just have so much potential. The KSI program can teach so people, coaches, to be able to do some pretty amazing things, and I just, it keeps on expanding. And I heard that from coaches when I was earlier on, and I don't think I really understood it. But yeah, I've been really becoming aware of that more and more as I am becoming a better student. I was watching some of the specialization DVDs the other day, and I was like, have I seen this before? And I was like, I know I've seen this before, but I was like, but I'm totally understanding this in a different way now when I watch it. So yeah, I don't know for anyone that will listen to this if they're really going to understand what I'm saying, but there's KSI is far and above, just provides a level of service that there just isn't there anywhere else.
Well, we say the athlete, well, the athlete comes first, and it's it's a play on words, but it's not it's just not words. It is actually backed by action. So recently, you qualified to enter the level 9 program. So you qualified up a level, and you're on in the final level, because after this, you're heading towards graduation. So how does it feel to achieve that level? It's pretty significant from my perspective.
It feels different. I'm proud of myself, and yeah, it feels pretty weird, I guess. Like we hear clients say all the time, right? It's weird. It's different than I'm used to. So it's even going up in the program has been about challenging myself to change, to grow, and sometimes that is more difficult than others, and then realizing that I have is pretty awesome.
So
And
as you know firsthand, we're there's more to life than sets and reps, and we teach more than sets and reps. We have a very holistic approach. We don't talk it, we actually do it, and it's I don't think anybody can match what we're doing from a holistic perspective. So how do you see yourself when you're connecting with your former colleagues or others in the industry in terms of the path that you're on and the path that you're on now from a holistic perspective?
how do I compare? How do I relate to them?
Well, how do you relate to the difference in past? Because where you are now,
Yeah.
you're in a different place, and I'm not just talking about professionally. I'm talking about in all aspects that we work on.
Well, I don't feel like I relate to anybody in the industry really anymore. I don't even like talking to them most of the time. And I don't mean that they're bad people, but I just struggle to really relate to the things that I used to care about as much. Um, yeah, like so many other things in life are really important to me that aren't related to training. And sometimes I don't even want to train myself because I want to pursue some other things that I've only recently gotten into, and that are not related to sets and reps. And then I find that I've dedicated, I meet people that have questions about some of the personal development stuff, like I can give them guidance on that because I've gone through it, and so I look at life in a way that those guys don't. I can just tell when I talk to them. If I talk to them, I don't really speak to a lot of them as much as I used to. But yeah, spiritually, personally, I've learned a lot of new skills. I'm not the same person anymore at all, and it's a good thing.
My concern with anyone, getting using the word loosely, is that it's could be for many people not really a career path from a financial perspective or a fulfillment perspective. So what I've sought to do is give people who have a passion about physical preparation an opportunity to have the same quality of life as any professional might have, financially and lifestyle wise. You've really given yourself that opportunity. I think compared to where you were in terms of you have time to develop other passions, and you have time to pursue other areas that do need or do deserve time and attention.
Yeah, I've discovered a lot of new interests, that sides of my personality, I guess, that wouldn't have known they were there, or maybe I would have been too afraid to do it. I don't know. That's a possibility too. And yeah, financially, I'm in a great position to really create financial freedom for myself. And I've been putting more time recently into studying this. And I asked myself the question, like, what would I have done? Just, I know I had the aspirations to do some of the things that like buying my house and that kind of thing, but how successful would I have been, and what mistake? I just was kind of reflecting on where I came from. And the guidance that I've gotten in KSI has been tremendous. And recent reflections and reading some books, I could see some patterns that could potentially have brought me down a different path if I'd have followed them. Just some family influences and things like that. Because I've had the desire to create that financial freedom, but that was one of the things that I liked about KSI, is that wasn't about sets and reps. I was really attracted to that because I didn't know what to do in life, and I wanted to know how to change those things. And I think on my first interview, that was one of the things I said, like, I don't know what to do. And that's what I studied the most in the beginning, and I probably do now still, is the other stuff, not as much the training. And maybe that's why I see the video and that's not true. I see it differently because I've grown, and I look at it from a different perspective. But yeah, I was more attracted to the personal development in particular, and the great other things in life than sets and reps.
Well, we believe in the value of competence. We teach professional competence. We teach that at a level that I believe anyone else can guide people to, and we teach that fairly quickly. But of course, we also work on so many other areas that it makes the journey a bigger journey. So I've got no comparison, because we don't just limit it to sets and reps. But moving forward, you're in a phenomenal position here, keeping in mind the Los Angeles Olympics, and your location. You're in the shadows of future stadiums, and there'll be inevitable capital gain in your area in the lead up into the Olympics, etc. It's pretty exciting where you've positioned yourself.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. And once again, though, what I've been able to learn and from being exposed to KSI is helping me to plan how I want to go about making these choices and future investments and that kind of thing, and understanding a little bit more about what's happening in the world on a bigger scheme.
And this information, this study is going to be critical, especially as we enter the next economic downturn. It's going to be very important, and you have that information, you have that skill set, and I'm sure you'll be compassionate towards others who find themselves surprised, coming into those years.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. And for anybody that you know, wants to find out for themselves, it's the books are there. It's just like in training, the information is out there. You just have to ask the right questions, and we'll see what happens with some of those other people that have chosen not to. Or, you know, it's interesting too, because I certainly don't look the part of someone who knows anything about financial decisions. And we talk about this too, and maybe I don't want to. You know, you go to the store, and there's a lot of us people make assumptions about who they should follow and they shouldn't follow, and whatever they're studying. But finance is no different, and it's not always the person with the flashy car and all of that that knows what they're doing.
Absolutely. I think there's a very powerful story around Sam Walton, Sam Walton's choice in vehicles. I was recently, I went across the road and had a chat with a young fellow, and I didn't know who was in the car, but very flashy sports car, and he ran his window down, and I thought, geez, he's driving his mortgage. But that's another story. Yeah, absolutely. If we don't feel the need to impress with our dress in terms of look how wealthy we are, or the sort of car we're driving, then we can get our money to work for us in other ways that are far more powerful. And you know that, you've seen the money work for you rather than you being restricted only to working for money.
Well, and that's one of the things that I've gained from this program, is just letting go of some of the need to, you know, impress, I guess, and really just do it for me, and regardless of what other people think. And I saw a news article like last week, and I forget what state it was in the US. Some guy died, and he left the small town he lived in, like all of his money. It was like $4 million. No one knew he had this money. He lived in a trailer park, and he just donated it to the town he lived in.
Wow. Absolutely, it takes a lot of humility and self confidence, self belief to not have to compensate for or overcompensate. Well, Tom, it's been 8 years of from roughly when you commenced into the program, not including, as I said, prior years of exposure. It's been a phenomenal journey. I do remember the time you started out, and I'm very proud of what you've done. I'm very impressed with what you've done. You're an incredible role model for others. You're one of our many coaches who come from another industry, which also is impressive, because we want to give people the opportunity to change career paths at any point of their life, so they're not locked into, you know, the 2 generations ago of only one career for the whole entire life. So you've done a lot of things which are serving others, not just helping yourself, which have been very impressive. And, you know, perhaps by the next time we have this chat, you'll be a graduate. But that's just a scorecard. It's about the journey, and you've certainly optimized your journey. You've enjoyed your journey, and you've been a great student, which is why the journey has been successful, I think.
Yeah, well, it certainly embodies what Jim Rohn says about setting goals that have stretch you because of the person you're going to become in order to achieve them. And that is certainly the case here. So graduation is a big goal of mine, not because I'm done or anything like that, but I know that all that the work I've had to do on myself as the type of person I've had to become to achieve that will be a pretty big celebration for me. But then there's more to go, because even though I know I'm level 9 and so forth, as I was saying earlier, I keep on realizing that there is just so much more I can pick up and get good at, and which is crazy and exciting at the same time. So it's a never-ending journey, but I do want to check that box. That's a big one for me.
And we're looking forward to you being the graduate who gives back, because that's what Mike Primitel was. Mike Primitel was our first student, our longest serving student, our first graduate. And Mike was phenomenal at giving back. And so we look forward to graduates who embrace the value that he shared, because someone's given us a hand to get where we are, and there's no reason why we can't return that to others and help them on their journey. So I know you'll be a very good graduate in that regard.
Yeah,
Well,
it's one of my values that you got to show gratitude for what has contributed to your growth and give back. So I like to promote KSI because of all that it's done for me. I think that's like the least I can do.
Yeah, great to hear. And gratitude is an important quality we like to see in humans, and you've been a great role model in that regard. Well, I know it's getting late there in the City of Angels, and we'll let you get your recovery. But we speak on a weekly basis. We get together multiple times a year, and you're always there and you're always advancing. So I appreciate your contribution to self-improvement, because as I keep saying, you're doing more than helping yourself. You're providing an inspiration and a role model for others, because life's not always a walk in the park. There's often challenges that require, adversity requires a determination. And as Napoleon Hill spoke about, in every adversity lies the seed of opportunity. So if you're willing to push through that adversity, you find opportunities on the other side. And you've certainly exemplified that. So we appreciate your contribution to the program, Tom. Appreciate your time today to have a chat.
Thank you, Ian.